Hello, everybody. We are back to continue my recounting of my musical history. And the next band of import in my life, which this actually occurred very much in tandem with my interest in Rob Zombie, was my interest in Rammstein. So my first Rammstein CD was actually Sehnsucht and not Herzeleid. But I ended up getting Herzeleid very soon afterwards. So, I had heard this like a long time ago, and I've heard it pretty consistently throughout my entire life, honestly. This is not like one of those things where it's like, oh, I stopped listening to that and I haven't heard it in 10 years. No, I've listened to certainly songs off of the first four Rammstein albums, like, pretty consistently for my whole life. Yeah, what can I say about this album? It's a little different than Sehnsucht. And I feel like comparing those two because I feel like Sehnsucht is less focused on synthesizer and keyboard stuff, and Herzeleid has a lot more of that stuff, or at least that's certainly what it feels like, based on my how I remembered the songs and stuff. Which I think, I don't know, I don't mind it. And a lot of the songs on this album sound great to me. The only song I don't like on this album is the very last track, titled Rammstein. But every other song on this album I really enjoy. The only thing that I do on Spotify is I don't use the album version of Heirate Mish. I use the there's like an edit of it that's on the Lost Highway soundtrack or something, and that one's a little tighter and it flows better in my opinion. So I much prefer that. Anyway, I feel like now, before I talk about my top three, I want to get some things out of the way. One, obviously, when I'm talking about these songs, I'm not going to be able to make any kind of comments, really, about the lyrics, because I am not a German speaker. And, looking at the translations, obviously it doesn't flow in the same way, so I can't really make any kind of observations about, whether those things sound good to people who do speak German. I have no idea. I've heard, that some of their lyrics are, immature and stupid. I don't really care, because, if is the song good, that's what matters to me. I'm sure there's plenty of songs that I like that are, probably have shit lyrics or whatever, but can't think of any off the top of my head. But, they make some awesome songs. So I wanted to make that clear. Obviously, I can't really comment on the lyrics or the how the rhymes go and stuff. I can't make any kind of observation about any of that shit. So that's just off the table. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is going to be a little serious for a moment, but not too serious. But, Rammstein is going to be one of probably a few artists that I have to talk about where, there's been controversy in recent years, or accusations or, things of that nature. I'm not here to talk about any of that, because that is not what these videos are about. These videos are about my personal relationship with these artists at certain points in my life, and some remained pretty consistent in terms of how I consume their music. Some, fell to the wayside a little bit, like Rob Zombie to some extent. I did not listen to him as consistently throughout my life as as Rammstein, for example. And I don't want to spoil any of the other bands that I'm going to be talking about yet. We'll get there when we get there. This is only 8 albums until we're done with Rammstein. But anyway, yeah, so whatever the people involved with any of the music that I will be talking about, have done, in terms of like being bad people or whatever, does not matter for what I'm talking about. So that is not going to be part of the discussion. But I had to bring that up now because I know somebody at some point would probably pop up in a comment on a video where I'm talking about Rammstein, or somebody that I'm going to be talking about soon in the future, reminding me that, oh, this person's bad. They, were accused of this, or they definitely did this. And it's like, okay, that's not what I'm talking about. So anyway, sorry, I had to get that out of the way. So, and I'm not excusing anything, by the way. Again, it's just not part of this conversation. So, my top 3 picks for this album, which is easy and hard at the same time, because it's easy because my top 3 favorite songs off of this album, I think, are conclusively my top 3. But it's also kind of tricky because it's like most of the rest of the tracks that aren't in my top 3 are very close contenders. Like, this is a very consistently enjoyable album for me. Again, except for the last song. I just never listen to that one. I always skip it. But, yeah, so my number 3 pick is going to be Wollt ihr das Bett in Flammen sehen. Oh, that's another thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I said that fine. I'm probably going to butcher some of these song titles throughout this section of videos. So, my apologies to any German-speaking viewers who may watch one of my videos. Probably not, but anyway, yeah, that was a great way to start the album. And I remember hearing it for the first time because when I got into Rammstein with Sehnsucht, I remember listening to that with my dad, and I wasn't sure what he would think of it. He ended up liking it a lot. And then when I got Herzeleid, I don't think I listened to it first. I think I took it on a car ride, like to his house for the weekend, and that's where we listened to it for the first time. And that was the first song on the album, and I remember how awesome it sounded in his car, because he had a really, at least from what I remember, a really good sounding stereo. And the way the fucking drums kick in when the song gets going, it was just like, oh, it was just like, this is great. I'm having a good time already. So yeah, we definitely bumped that pretty loud, like the whole car ride, because I think it took us longer to get there than to listen to the whole disc. So we heard the whole album. Anyway, so yeah, that's an awesome song. My number 2 pick is going to be Der Meister. And there is a large part of that is purely dependent on there's a section of the song where he's singing and then he kind of stops, for a moment on kind of a high note, not like high pitched, but it's got some drama behind it, I guess. I'm terrible at describing music, I'm sorry. And the music changes its energy for a second, and it's just there's a thudding bass drum, and then there's just synth that's just kind of playing, and it just sounds really nice. I love that part of the song, and I look forward to it every time I listen to the song. I mean, the rest of the song is fine too, but that part of it pushes it up for me in terms of my enjoyment of it. Sometimes that's how it works with me. Sometimes the reason I really like a particular song is a part of the song, and not necessarily I love the whole song equally the whole way through, But yeah, Der Meister, easy number 2 pick. And then my number 1 pick is going to be Asche zu Asche, which I just really like the way this song sounds. It's very awesome. It's just enjoyable. I really like it. The funny thing too is that I have an extra layer of attachment to this song for nostalgic reasons that are it's just one of those things where sometimes things get connected in your brain, and normally I don't have any kind of connections with music. Like, I know there's people where something sad happens and it reminds them of a song, and they like, "Oh, I can't listen to that song. You know, that's the song that I listened to after she broke up with me." Like, I don't have those connections with any song ever. But this song I have a positive connection with because when I was in middle school, I was in a big Dungeon Master stint where I was playing Dungeon Master, the 1987 game. And there was like an updated release of it. I think it was a fan project or something. It was Dungeon Master Java. Dungeon Master Java had its own map editor, and it was pretty easy to use, honestly. At least I remember it being pretty easy to use. And I remember I would put on this CD, or at least I did it at one point, and it stuck out in my memory for whatever reason. And I was, making my own dungeon, and I just really remember specifically the image of, like, my room at the time, where I had this big ugly desk, and I had my fucking fat-ass monitor, because I didn't have, like, a flat-screen monitor at the time. Just that song playing, and me, like, putting the tiles down to make my Dungeon Master map. So... is that part of why I like the song more? Maybe a little bit. But I still probably would pick this song anyway, because I always liked this song, even before I had that particular memory. But anyway, yeah, so I know this one ran a little longer, because I had to, put in the... I don't know what to even call those, disclaimers, I guess, of, like, I'm not talking about these things. Appreciate you guys, anyone who actually watches these. Weirdly, I don't know if this is a weird thing that I noticed. It's like a lot of them consistently get like no views, and then like one of them, and it's usually one that I don't expect, like Crazy Nights, the Kiss album that I talked about. That one like weirdly got more views than like all of them, and I don't know why. Like I don't know. It's just one of those weird things where it's like, why Crazy Nights though? Like, what? Anyway, yeah, I appreciate anyone who actually watches these, and I'm happy to be on to talking about Rammstein, because I feel like a lot of this is going to be very positive, because I remember the first 3 albums like front to back, like extremely well, and then we'll just get there when we get there. But anyway, this should be fun. So thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next one, which the next one is we're going to be talking about Sehnsucht, their second album. So I'll see you guys in the next video.